All right, what's going on, my people? We're back in it for another one. I hope you're enjoying your day. And Starfield, we got this by far right here. This game right here, Starfield, has to be one of the most polarizing games I've ever seen on the socials. The weirdest discourse and reaction to this game I think I've ever seen out of any game. And we've seen some controversial games over the years, man. I've been here for a minute. All right, I was around in Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Sony PlayStation 1, Dreamcast. I was even around for the Atari. I've been here for a minute. And we've even recently seen Hogwarts Legacy. That game was kind of weird around launch, but I'm not really into Harry Potter and all that, so I wasn't really paying attention. I don't care about J.K. Rowling, right? So I wasn't really invested in that. But I'm here for Starfield, and I've never seen a reaction to a game like this before. It's crazy on both sides of the fence. If you want to know my quick thoughts on the game, my closing thoughts as of now with whatever I got in the game, I think I'm around 12 hours or something like that. With the 3 streams that I've done, and I played a few hours outside of those streams, I would say I have around 10 to 12 hours, somewhere in there. This game is the literal definition of mid. And it is the perfect game for Game Pass. But this, don't let anybody steer you wrong. This game is mid. This might be the middest game I've ever played in my life. Mid as hell. Starfield is mid. But we got people out here talking about how it's the worst game ever made. And then we have other people on the other side of the fence saying that this game is the best game ever made. Game of the generation, apparently, right? There's still people, dude, if you're fighting in a console war in 2023 still, you're soldiering for a piece of plastic like that, right? You are a nerd, okay? You have to seriously reevaluate your life and try to go and get one, because this shit ain't working for you, cuh. I went through a couple of these people's pages, right? I'm genuinely fascinated by these people. So I seen in my timeline on Twitter, I seen some of the PlayStation fanboys, right? Now keep in mind, I got both consoles. I played PlayStation and Xbox, man. I had an Xbox, the first one, right up and through until this one. Now in the PS4, Xbox One era, I was mainly PS4, but I did end up getting an Xbox One towards the end of it. And now I have a Series S. I've always had an Xbox. I've always had a PlayStation. I have no dog in this fight, man. Like what you like. I just don't understand, if you like something, why you have to dog on the other thing. Why do you have to put it down? So I'm seeing these Sony PlayStation fanboys, okay? The X, quote unquote, the X bots, that's what the ponies call them. And then the bots call the Sony PlayStation fanboys ponies, okay? So it's like we got ponies and we got X bots. And this is this is how they criticize each other on the socials. Grown men. This is how they talk on the socials, okay? Like, yeah, you ain't no nerd, right? Oh my goodness. But anyways, so I'm going through some of these dudes' pages. I want to see if they have anything legitimate to say about the game. So I'm going through a couple of the PlayStation account, and these people are tweeting anywhere between 20 to hundreds of times in a day about a game they never played, a game they probably will not play. And they're obsessed, infatuated with anything negative about the game. And if anything comes across their timeline or whatever that's positive about the game, they're doing everything they can to destroy the game or discredit the person who put up that post. I even seen some, I'm not going to put any of that shit in here because they're getting enough attention already. But I've actually seen some of these fanboys, these console war soldiers out here, go back and comb through people's profile, right? So you got somebody come out here, they'll say something positive about Starfield. These people will go back years. I'm pretty sure I seen one post just yesterday where they went back to something that person said like 6 years ago that kind of contradicts what they're saying about Starfield now, to discredit them so that nobody takes them seriously. It's like, oh, look, this is what they're saying about Starfield today, but this is what they said about this game 8 years ago. Nobody should listen to them. Like, they're actually out here losing their fucking minds, bro. And same with the other side of the fence. These people are out here calling this game Game of the Generation. There's actually a couple that I just responded to earlier today. One was talking about how Starfield is a 10 out of 10. If anybody gives it under a 9 out of 10, they have an agenda. So basically, you either have the same opinion that he does, and if you don't, your opinion does not count because you have an agenda. You have bias, right? Yeah, that doesn't, see that they flip the script like that, right? Like, he's tweeting that, he's putting up that post because he has an agenda, okay? While telling people if you don't agree, if you don't share his opinion, then you have an agenda. These are the type of people we have out here, bro. When other people are just genuinely looking for the truth about the game, you have these console war soldiers out here misleading everybody. Another person that I responded to earlier today was talking about how the exploration was so good. The game is one of the best games he's ever played. It is so good. It is consuming his life to the point that he went to work on absolutely zero sleep, almost got into a car accident or something like that on his way home because he was so tired after not sleeping at all because he was so hooked on the game, played it all night long. Then he went to work all day, driving home, almost got into an accident or something. Starfield is so good that it will literally consume your life. Talking about how the content in the game is endless, but he kept going on about the exploration in the game, and I'm sitting there like, I'm interested in the facts, man. So I'm thinking about this exploration, going on about the exploration is so good. A lot of these people who are super positive about the game, like they keep talking about the exploration is so good. I'm actually going to play you guys a clip right here. There was a mission that I got later on in the game, and it was sending me to Earth, specifically to NASA. And I was like, oh shit, man, this I'm excited, man. This should be cool, right? This should be dope. We're going to NASA. We're going back to Earth. Let's go, man. Let's check it out. This is so interesting. I can hardly contain my excitement. Can you hear how excited I am in my voice? It's all really very exciting. All right, so jokes aside, is every planet super boring like that when you land there? After you go through a couple of loading screens, you gotta land on the planet, go through a loading screen, and then once you get to the planet and you're in your ship, then you got to tell the game that you want to get out of your ship and onto the planet. You go through another little loading screen, and then you're on the planet. Is every planet boring like that? Just no life, nothing going on, just visually uninteresting is an understatement. Is every planet like that? No. There are actually some interesting planets. You get there and you're like, all right, cool, man. I want to check this out. Like, I want to go over here. I want to go check that out. But they're very few and far between. Most of the time when you land on a planet, it's like that. And most of the time, a lot of the time when you land on a planet, you're running even longer than I had to in this clip to get to your objective. You're landing. You went through a couple of loading screens. You land and you're just running and walking, man, with nothing going on around you. And you have to run for minutes before you get to where you need to go. A lot of people are trying to say you got to play this game for 6 to 10 hours. You can't judge this game at all until you play it for 6 to 10 hours. But apparently it doesn't get good until you hit like 10 hours or so. If you got to grind through a mid as hell game for 10 hours for it to start getting good, how is it a good game? Yeah, you can make the argument that it's a Bethesda game, and I hear you on that, but I liked Fallout 4. That got a lot of backlash. I liked that game. I liked Fallout 3. It didn't take me that long at all to get hooked on those games and actually start enjoying them. The dialogue in this game is just terrible for the most part. I'm sitting there bored out of my fucking mind with some of the conversations that you have to have with some of these NPCs and some of the things that they'll ask you and the shit that you got to listen to. I'm sitting here like, I don't give a fuck about this. I want to go do something fun. Give me a fun mission. The dialogue is very questionable. The mission design, very questionable at times. And you're just sitting there listening to bullshit. They'll send you on missions. You'll go, you'll talk to somebody. They'll send you on a mission to go talk to someone else. You'll go over there, talk. This game should have been called Star Top. Because you'll go over there, you'll talk to this other one. And that one's objective is to go and talk to 3 other people. No joke, in my second stream on my second channel, for the first 2 hours of that stream, all I did was basically talk to people. I was just, dude, my eyes were falling out of my head, and I'm trying to stream it, man. You're trying to sound like a little positive, right? A little energetic while you're streaming. And I'm so bored. I'm losing my mind. And I had no connections to any of the characters that we were talking to, anything that they were telling me. I did not care. But for all of these mediocre, mid as hell missions and questionable mission designs, you'll have a couple in there where it's like, all right, man, this is actually pretty interesting right here. I remember being on a mission where I went to this research center, or maybe it was like a lab, right? And everything was clean and there was people there working. Everybody was alive and well except for one person. One person had died. I can't remember how they died, right? But everybody was alive and well, very clean. You had to go around and talk to people, you know what I mean? It's Star Talk, right? You had to talk to a bunch of people, but then you had to activate these distortions. And when you activated them, they sent you to a different dimension where that lab actually blew up. Everybody that you were talking to in the previous dimension, they were dead, but the one person that had died in the first dimension you were in, they were the only one alive now in the lab. And you had all these creatures trying to kill you and everything was all fucked up. The walls were all burnt and shit. And so to get around and progress in the mission, you had to keep phasing in and out of dimensions. You had to keep going back to this one to get through this door and go back through that one to get to this other spot to progress the mission. And it was actually pretty fun. It was interesting. But then even that mission started to get tedious. Very questionable decisions with this game, with the menu and just the loading screens. The combat is very meh. It's very blah, very Fallout 4-ish. I would say a little bit better than Fallout 4, but still very similar to that. It's basically Fallout 4 in space. That's what you're looking at. Now, I know some people are going to make the arguments for planets being barren and empty and not much to do, because in real life, if you say went to the moon, it's going to be empty and there's not going to be anything interesting there and shit like that. All right, I get that. Not everything translates or should be adopted to video games. Like, yes, you want to go for immersion, but we are talking about a video game at the end of the day that you paid money for to be entertained. Take Call of Duty, for example. Like, yeah, when you play Call of Duty, when you play a modern warfare game, right? You want to be a modern soldier in a modern setting with modern weapons. You want that type of immersion, right? But if every single gun in the game was a one-shot kill no matter what, you're not going to really have much fun playing it. Most of the Call of Duty crowd is not going to want to have anything to do with that game. So if you take one bullet to your leg, all of a sudden now you can't sprint anymore for the rest of the game. All of a sudden you got to take like 6 months off the game. You can't play it anymore because you got shot in the leg. Like, how much realism are we talking about here? Because like, you can only go so far with it, right? Like, yes, we want it to look and feel like the moon, and we want the sounds, whatever sounds you would hear if you were on the moon. Like, we want all of that. But put some shit on your map, man. Make it interesting. It's a video game at the end of the day. You're paying money to be entertained. And I'm seeing a lot of emptiness a lot of restrictiveness, a lot of meh, a lot of mid. But like I said, having said what I said in this video, I do not think this game is as bad as people are making it out to be. I would give it around a 5 out of 10 if I never rate games like that, but that's where I would put it. I would slot it in 5, you know, maybe 5.5, somewhere in there. It's definitely no game of the generation, but it's definitely not as bad as some people are making it sound too. There's a lot of game here, right? It's going to be a lot of boring game, but there is a lot of game here. And if you could look past a lot of its mediocrity, you know, you're going to have a lot of shit to do. Like if you like running around on a boring planet with not much to do, well, there's a lot of game here for you for that. And you'll have a ship that you can modify, and you'll have your skills, and you'll have your power, and you'll have a bunch of things that you have there available to you. But at the end of the day, the game is mid. People are making a big deal about this game because Xbox doesn't have a lot of great exclusives. This is supposed to be one of them, and people are losing their minds because they're still soldiering in console wars in 2023. It's fucking pathetic. You'll see some performance issues here and there, but for the most part, my game was running pretty smooth. We were on the Series S, and the same thing with the graphics. In spots, I'm like, yo, this actually looks good. Like, I wish the game was more colorful. I wish they made the colors pop a little bit more. But in some spots of the game, I'm like, yeah, this looks great. The detail in the mud and on the buildings and all that, it looks great. And then other parts of the game, you're looking at it and you're like, all right, you're going easy on Bethesda if you say this looks like PS3. Because PS2 is actually probably more accurate for what I'm looking at right here. Like, it looks terrible for 2023. Next gen console, we're stuck at 30 FPS. Like I said, the definition of mid, but it makes a good Game Pass game. But that is it. That is all I have for this one. That is my Starfield review. By far one of the weirdest games I've ever seen out here, and it's just weird to stream it. Like, I'm not really a streamer to begin with, and I don't usually look at my subscriber count. I stopped that a while ago, because even since I noticed back when I hit like 4,000 subscribers or something like that, like, you're always going back and forth. You'll wake up one day and you'll notice you'll lose a couple of subscribers, and you'll come back home from work and all of a sudden they're back, or a couple other people subscribe or whatever, right? You're always bouncing around your subscriber count. Once you hit a certain number, it's not like when, you know, before you hit 1,000 subs, you know exactly what you got. Like, you're always kind of bouncing around back and forth. But even when I upload other games on this channel, primarily being a Call of Duty channel, like, yeah, I might lose a couple of subscribers, but not like this. I streamed this game twice on this channel, and I put up 2 community posts about it, and I'm pretty sure I've lost about 20 subscribers since I've done that. Now, are they Sony PlayStation fanboys who are just, they hate everybody who covers the game and all that? Yeah, there could have been a couple in there, but it's just weird, man, to lose that many subscribers just because you're taking a couple of days off of uploading Call of Duty and you decided to stream this game. It's very weird to lose, you know, 20 or 30 subs, whatever it's been, just because you're streaming a brand new game. Like, you should be out here blowing up with new games. You should be getting some attention either way, uploading or streaming or whatever a new game. And my channel is bleeding subscribers covering it. So I don't know, that might tell you something about the game as well too. It just seems like people are not really interested in watching it. People are not interested in playing it, except for the diehard Xbox fanboys, it seems. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section either way. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll probably be back with some Call of Duty tomorrow. I'll see you on that next one.